Have you ever felt it? That quiet, persistent ache of trying too hard? The feeling that you are a juggler in a circus of your own making, with dozens of fragile glass balls in the air. One is your career, another your relationships, another your health, your future, your past regrets, the expectations of people you haven't spoken to in 10 years. And you are spinning frantically under the bright, unforgiving lights, terrified that at any moment they will all come crashing down. The smile on your face is painted on, and your arms are burning with a fatigue so deep it feels like it's in your very soul. You look out at the audience, and they seem to be clapping, they seem to be enjoying the show, but you feel utterly, completely alone in the act. There is a peculiar loneliness that comes not from being by yourself, but from performing a role you never auditioned for, in a play whose script you are certain is utter nonsense. But what if I told you that this exhaustion, this deep, soul-level fatigue, is not a sign of your failure as a juggler? What if it is the first stirring of a profound wisdom? What if the urge to just let it all drop is not a suicidal impulse, but the first true movement toward sanity? You see, you have been taught that the whole point of life is to keep all the balls in the air. You have been told that your worth, your value, your very identity is measured by your skill in this frantic, impossible game. And this feeling of being an imposter, this sense that the whole show is a charade, is not you being broken. It is a sign that you are beginning to wake up. You are starting to see with uncomfortable clarity that the circus is a phantom, the audience is imaginary, and the only thing that is real is the strain in your own arms. The problem, my friend, is not that you are a bad juggler. The problem is that you have mistaken the juggling for life itself. We are born into a grand, elaborate game, a conspiracy of seriousness. From the moment we are old enough to understand words, we are handed a rule book. It is a very thick book, and it is filled with invisible ink. The rules are about who you should be, what you should want, how you should feel. You must get good grades so you can get into a good college, so you can get a good job, so you can buy a big house, so you can fill it with things, so you can prove to everyone and to yourself that you have won. You must be happy, but not too loud. You must be successful, but not so much that you make others uncomfortable. You must be vulnerable, but never weak. You must be independent, but never alone. The rules contradict each other. They shift like sand, and yet everyone around you seems to be playing along with a straight face. They nod seriously at the right times. They post the right pictures of their victories. They recite the right lines about their ambitions and their 5-year plans. And you tried. Oh, how you tried. You memorized the lines. You wore the costumes. You chased the prizes. But you always had this nagging feeling in the background, this quiet hum of absurdity. You'd be in a meeting where people spoke with immense gravity about quarterly projections and leveraging synergies, and a little voice in the back of your head would whisper, "What are we all doing? This is a game of pretend. We're all just children in suits, playing make-believe with—" You'd be at a party, laughing at a joke you didn't find funny, and you'd feel a strange sense of disassociation, as if you were floating near the ceiling, watching a character who looked like you go through the motions. Your pain, your anxiety, your feeling of being an outcast, it doesn't come from your inability to play the game well. It comes from the dawning realization that the game itself is the source of the suffering. Your exhaustion is not a personal failure. It is the perfectly natural response of a conscious human spirit to an environment that demands you pretend to be a machine. It is the psychic cost of constantly overriding your own intuition, of silencing that little voice that whispers, "This isn't," you feel like you're going crazy because you're a sane person in an insane world, and the world is very, very good at convincing you that the problem is you. It has to be. Because if the problem isn't you, then the entire structure, the entire grand theater, is built on a foundation of sand, and that is a terrifying thought for those who have bet their entire lives on the solidity of the stage. And this is where the great turning point occurs. This is the moment where the path splits. One path leads back into the circus, to more juggling, more frantic spinning, a deeper commitment to the illusion. The other path leads to a kind of quiet revolution, a revolution of one. It is the path of detachment, and detachment is not what you think it is. It is not coldness. It is not apathy. It is not a lack of caring. It is the exact opposite. It is a form of profound, radical love. It is the courage to love reality more than you love your ideas about reality. It begins with the understanding of what could be called 4 fundamental laws of liberation. These aren't rules to follow. They are truths to be realized. They are the keys to the locks you never knew were on your own cage. The first realization, the first law, is this: you are responsible for your own state of being, but you are not and can never be responsible for. Think about this. How much of your energy, your life force, has been spent trying to manage the feelings of other people? You tiptoe around your parents' expectations. You edit your words to keep a friend from feeling insecure. You say yes to things you want to say no to, simply to avoid the imagined storm of someone else's disappointment. You have become a psychic weather forecaster, constantly trying to predict and control the emotional climate of everyone around you. It is the most exhausting job in the world because it is impossible. You are trying to control the rain. You are trying to command the sun. Imagine your inner world is a garden. You are responsible for this garden. You must tend the soil, pull the weeds, water the seeds, and allow the flowers to bloom. This is your life's work. Now, imagine you spend all day, every day, in your neighbor's garden, trying to pull their weeds, trying to water their flowers, while your own garden turns to dust. And the tragic comedy of it all is that your neighbor might not even want you there. They might prefer weeds. They might like a different kind of flower. Your frantic efforts in their garden are not only depleting you, but they are also a form of violation. You are denying them the dignity of their own journey, their own garden. To detach, in this sense, is to return to your own soil. It is to say, with a calm and profound certainty, I will make my garden as beautiful and as true as I possibly can. I can offer you a flower from my garden, if you wish to receive it. I can share my wisdom on how to tend the soil if you ask for it, but I cannot and will not do your gardening for you. Your happiness is your sacred ground. My happiness is, this is not selfishness. This is the deepest respect. When you release the burden of managing everyone else's emotions, you are suddenly flooded with an immense amount of energy. It is the energy that was being siphoned off into 1,000 impossible tasks. And for the first time, you have enough life force to truly cultivate your own being. The guilt you feel when you first do this, when you first say a gentle no, is the withdrawal symptom of an addiction to approval. But on the other side of that withdrawal is a quiet, solid freedom you have never known. You start to love people not for who you need them to be, but for who they are. You can sit with them in their sadness without feeling the compulsive need to fix it. You can celebrate their joy without feeling a shred of envy. You are no longer an emotional accountant constantly balancing the books of who owes what to whom. You are just a gardener, tending your own plot, enjoying the existence of other gardens next to yours. This leads us to the second great realization. Accept what is. Not in a spirit of passive resignation, but in a spirit of intelligent. The universe is a grand flowing river. It has its own current, its own speed, its own direction. Most of human suffering comes from the absurd and heroic effort of trying to swim upstream. We have a picture in our minds of how things should be. My career should be more advanced. This relationship should be easier. I should be healthier. People should be kinder. Each should is a hook that snags you on the riverbank while the water of life rushes past. You are fighting a battle you are guaranteed to lose, and the fight itself is what is tearing you apart. To detach is to stop fighting the current. It is to turn around and face downstream. This is not giving up. It is the highest form of intelligence. A skilled boatman does not try to row against a powerful current. He uses the current to steer. He works with the energy that is present, not against it. When you accept what is, you stop wasting your life force on resistance. If it is raining, you do not stand outside shaking your fist at the sky, cursing the clouds. You get an umbrella. The rain is a fact. Your resistance is a choice. Your suffering is your resistance. Let's go deeper with this. Acceptance doesn't mean you have to like it. You can accept that you have a difficult illness without liking it. You can accept that you lost your job without being happy about it. The acceptance is simply the acknowledgement of reality. This is the situation. This is the terrain I am standing on right. Only from that point of honest acknowledgement can any intelligent action be taken. Before that, you are just thrashing in the water, drowning in your own struggle. Think of it as a dance. The music is reality. It might be a slow waltz one day and a chaotic, frantic tempo the next. You have been taught to believe you are the composer of the music, and so when the music isn't what you want, you get angry. You try to force the orchestra to play your preferred tune. But you are not the composer. You are the dancer. Your freedom lies not in controlling the music, but in learning to dance to whatever is playing. To detach is to become a master dancer. It is to find the grace and the rhythm in the chaos. It is to find the stillness and the beauty in the silence. When you stop demanding that reality conform to your expectations, you begin to see the unexpected beauty in reality as it is. The fight dissolves, and in its place, a sense of wonder arises. You are no longer a victim of circumstances, but a participant in the cosmic dance. This brings us naturally to the third law, the third great opening. Your fear is a story, and you are its author. Detach from the story. and the fear loses its. Look at the nature of fear. 99% of what you fear is not happening now. It is a projection. It is a movie you are playing in your head about a future that does not exist. You are afraid of losing your job, of being alone, of getting sick, of failing, of being judged. These are all phantoms conjured by your own mind. You are living in a haunted house of your own construction. The mind is a magnificent storyteller. It can weave tales of such terror and dread that your body reacts as if they are real. Your heart races, your palms sweat, your stomach churns, all because of a work of fiction. A ghost story you are telling yourself. To detach from fear is not to become fearless. A fearless person is a fool. It is to see the fear for what it is, an emotion, a sensation, a story. It is not a prophecy. Here is a small experiment. The next time you feel that cold grip of anxiety, stop. Don't run from it. Don't distract yourself. Turn and face it. Observe it in your body. Where is it? A tightness in the chest? A knot in the stomach? Just watch it as you would watch a cloud in the sky. Do not label it. Do not get entangled in the story of why you are afraid. Just observe the raw sensation. And then ask a simple question. What is actually happening right now in this present, not in the imagined future, but right here? Are you safe? Are you breathing? In this exact second, are you okay? Almost always, the answer is yes. The fear is a shadow, and the only way to make a shadow shrink is to shine a light on it. The light is your present moment awareness. The story of fear requires you to live in the future. Detachment brings you back to the now, and in the now, the monster you were so afraid of is revealed to be nothing but a coat hanging on a door in a dimly lit room. You realize that you have spent years, perhaps decades, being held captive not by a real monster, but by a story about one. The freedom this brings is immense. It doesn't mean you stop planning or being prudent. It means you stop letting the fictional narratives of what if paralyze you. You can take action while feeling fear. The fear is a passenger in your car, but it is no longer the driver. You learn to make a distinction between the clean, simple sensation of fear, an evolutionary signal to pay attention, and the sticky, complex narrative of anxiety, which is the mind-spinning tales of doom. You detach from the narrative, and you are free to act with clarity and courage no matter what movie is playing in your head. And this leads us to the fourth and most profound law, the one that underpins all the others. The present moment is the only reality you will ever experience. Detachment is the art of arriving. Our entire culture is a conspiracy against the present moment. We are taught to live in the future, sacrificing today for a promised tomorrow. Or we are taught to live in the past, endlessly replaying our glories and our wounds. We are always on our way to somewhere, but we never arrive. We eat our lunch while thinking about the afternoon meeting. We are in the meeting, thinking about what to make for dinner. We are making dinner, thinking about the television show we will watch later. We are watching the show, scrolling through our phones, thinking about yesterday. We are ghosts, haunting the corridors of our own lives. There is a wonderful old story about a man being chased by two ferocious tigers. He runs as fast as he can until he comes to the edge of a cliff. He grabs onto a vine and swings himself down over the edge. As he hangs there, he sees that the two tigers are snarling at him from above. He looks down and sees two more tigers on the ground below, waiting for him to fall. As he hangs, suspended between these two sets of tigers, two little mice, one white and one black, scamper out of a crevice in the cliff and begin to gnaw on the vine he is holding. He knows that at any moment the vine will break and he will fall to the tigers below. Just then, he notices a wild strawberry growing on the cliff face just within his reach. He plucks it, puts it in his mouth, and savors it. How sweet it tasted! The tigers above are the past. The tigers below are the future. The mice are day and night nibbling away at the vine of his life. And the strawberry is the present moment. Most of us are so obsessed with the tigers that we don't even notice the strawberry. To detach is to taste the strawberry. It is to release your obsessive grip on the past and the future and to finally, fully arrive in the only place life ever happens. Right here, right now. It is to wash the dishes, not to get them done. It is to walk, not just to get to a destination. It is to listen to another person with the whole of your being, not just waiting for your turn to speak. When you practice this, something miraculous happens. The frantic urgency of life begins to subside. You realize that you are not, in fact, running late for anything. You are exactly where you are supposed to be, because it is the only place you can be. The constant low-grade anxiety that hums beneath the surface of modern life is the product of never being where you are. When you arrive, it vanishes. It is replaced by a sense of presence, a richness, a texture to life that you had forgotten was possible. And so, what happens when you begin to live by these realizations? What becomes of the juggler? He simply sets the balls down, one by one. He lets go of the need to manage everyone's feelings. He lets go of the need to fight with reality. He lets go of the fictional stories of fear. He lets go of the obsession with yesterday and tomorrow. And he stands for the first time in the center of the silent circus ring with his arms at his sides, breathing. And a great peace descends. It is not the peace of emptiness, but the peace of fullness. The silence is not a void, but a plenum of reality itself. Yes, a certain kind of loneliness may accompany this. When you stop playing the game, you can no longer relate to the other players in the same way. Their anxieties seem strange. Their prizes seem trivial. You are speaking a different language, but this is the dignified solitude of the mountain dweller who has a clear view, not the desperate loneliness of the person lost in a thick, confusing fog with a crowd. You become a quieter person, but you are more alive. You feel more deeply, but you are not swept away by your feelings. You can love more purely, because your love is no longer tangled up with need and control. You can act more powerfully, because your actions are no longer born of fear and desperation. You are living life from its center, not from its frantic, churning circumference. So the next time you feel that old, familiar ache of the juggler, that strain in your soul, don't despair. Don't try harder. Don't pick up another ball. Just stop, take a breath, and gently, deliberately, let one of them fall. Let go of the argument you're trying to win with reality. Let go of the responsibility you feel for someone else's mood. Look at the fear that is whispering in your ear and see it for the ghost it is. Feel the ground beneath your feet. Hear the sound of your own breathing. Notice the strawberry. What is this feeling trying to show you about the truth of the game? This isn't a breakdown. This is a breakthrough. You are not broken. You are finally, beautifully waking up.